What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards. Wanted to take a look at some football stuff today, and I kind of have a general question for everyone out there, all you boys and girls. Do you think the football market is going to spike in the next 60-ish days? Or are we all getting this wrong? So what do I mean by this? Every talking head on the internet, myself included, have said wait till July or August to sell football. That's when prices will peak the most based off historical data. Whether it's the crazy card market of last year or in previous years, that's just typically when football prices peak on a macro level. Sure, some cards and players will spike in season, but in general, if you look at the football market as a whole, right prior to the season is the peak of the market, as it is in most sports. But I'm wondering if this year is going to be different for two reasons. One, the card market is still in a weird place. And though football has held fairly strong in this down cycle that we are in, it's still trended down a little bit. So I don't know what sort of effect that's going to have as the summer rolls on. I think things are going to begin to get more normalized, flatten out, and start to rebound here sooner rather than later for most stuff as the NBA season wraps up and as we move through summer and begin to head towards football season. My second concern is that everyone and their brother has been saying, oh yeah, sell between July and August. Football prices have stayed relatively flat, but there also has not been a lot of sales volume, which leads me to believe that people are holding cards back for later in the summer to sell. So the question is, one of the questions, and no one knows the answer to this. This is just, thoughts and opinions time. Are the buyers going to be there? Because let's say everyone's holding their stuff to dump onto the market in July and August, and the market hasn't fully rebounded yet. I think it will, but either way, maybe it's slightly back. When I say rebound, I don't mean back to, the February crazy times, but just back to a more normal cyclical market. Even if that's the case, are there enough buyers to handle the supply if everybody is holding to sell in July and August? I mean, that's the golden question when it comes to football stuff. Every YouTube talking head you listen to, and like I said, myself included, and some people have taken the contrarian view on this for sure. I believe Brad and Dustin, comeback card investor and personal finance dad, have hinted at this a little bit. I think Brad more so. I could be wrong. They're both basically the same person anyway. That maybe the time to buy is going to be in July and August because all this inventory is going to hit the market at once. Because that's all everyone's been saying. So maybe it causes prices to actually dip before the season even starts because of the increased supply on the market if the demand's not there. Now, like I said, what we don't know is the demand there or not? We have no idea. No idea. We should start to see a slight uptick as June rolls on and into July. I pulled up a bunch of charts and I ran them back over a year just to kind of get a feel for when things went nutso last year. Now, things were a little extreme, and I do not expect these cards to spike like the way that they did last summer. But in theory, they should still go up between now and the start of the season. Basically, what I looked at is a couple key players, all quarterbacks, all PSA 10. And I went with base because some of the silver stuff, I get it. People hate base, this, that, and the other thing. Last year, they didn't hate base. And two, football base is a different animal than basketball base. Keep that in mind. Football population counts are a lot lower than basketball. The base card pop counts are much, much, much lower. So just keep that in mind. We'll kind of look at that as we kind of move through a few of these things here. And the silver pop counts on a lot of this stuff is way lower, especially 2018. 2018 silvers are ridiculously hard to find. Like they're next to non existent. So it's hard to use that for a comp as well in regards to the market health. But we're looking at last year's numbers, and last year everyone loved base. Everyone was fine with it. I'll be curious to see how the football market handles base. Because in my opinion, base in football is fine. Base prism in football is fine. There's no need to panic like on the basketball side of things. Now, maybe with the 2020 class, that's a different story. I'm specifically speaking like 2017, 2018, and even 2019 is not terrible, I don't think. I'll check in a second because I have a Kyler Murray chart pulled up. But regardless, so let's look at Mahomes first. I pulled his Optic PSA 10 just because it's the most sales driven card. His silver prism is super high end, and there's just not that many of them, especially in PSA 10. So the Optic at a pop 3000, not that bad. Fairly low population for a base card, and kind of his common man's rookie card, even at 3000 currently. So when did this thing take off last year? I ran all these charts from April 1st of 2020 through today, mid-June, like we are in right now. So you can see basically from April when the card market rebounded. You got to remember, right after March and into April, the card market was in a weird place with COVID first starting. So once things kind of re-leveled out again, this was a $750 card, and it basically stayed right around there until the 4th of July. And we're going to notice a common trend here that around the 4th of July, I don't know if light bulbs go off, fireworks shoot off, and people are like, oh my God, football cards or what. But around the 4th of July, this card starts to move. So you can see on 7-3, it was 760, 760 on 7-6. And once again, back here on April, it was around 750, 630, between 625 and 750. It kind of bounced around a little bit during the early and late spring months. Then we get to the 4th of July. So on July the 5th, $760. And then not more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, 722, it's 1700 from basically the entire month of July. And then July into August, it actually pulls back a little bit, levels back out, then starts its downward trend into the season, bottoms out in season, and then skyrockets as he makes the Super Bowl run. So the 4th of July to the end of July was the key movement for this card. That's when this card went crazy. So we're only a couple weeks away from that. We're 2 weeks away from the 4th of July, basically. A little over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So we're going to know real quick if this market's going to pick up or not. The other thing that we have that we didn't have last year is the National. The Nationals occurring in late July. My big prediction is that football stuff is going to be wild at the National because it is timed perfectly for football cards. So maybe that is maybe the catalyst happens a little later this year and the National kicks everything off. Or maybe the Nationals in the heart of the football market resurgence. Maybe it's already starting and the National comes and it kicks it to the next level. I don't know. Look at a couple other examples here. Lamar Jackson, very similar path. So we see here on June 8th, this is about a $650 card. And then through June, the end of June, it's now up to $960. So it's moved $300 throughout the month of June. So we see this slow, steady uptrend. Then it went nutty time. 4th of July is around early July is here, July 3rd at 1100. And then it peaked August 8th at 3,500. I know what you're thinking, $3,500 for a base Lamar. But here's the thing with this. PSA 10, population count 568 on a base prism. Once again, Prism pop counts are much lower. And I believe Lamar is one of those ones that, kind of like the 2017 Mahomes, had some printing issues and it was a tougher 10 than a lot of the other cards in that set. So fairly low population card. And that's even, we're looking at the pop count now, not what the pop count was a year ago. So it was probably lower back then as well. So once again, this one actually started moving early. It started creeping up throughout the month of June, was already up $300 by the end of the month, and then went to the moon through July into August. And then once again, the same thing happened. It peaked here in early August, started pulling back as we approached the season, leveled off at the start of the season. Then Lamar kind of played like meh, and then it cratered down and has flattened out since. And we're actually still up $441 from last April, but really since last, if I go back to 614 here, sold for 738, and so it's up $100 over the year. What a wild ride! 1 year ago, you could buy this card for $750. Today, you could buy it for $850, 100% increase or $100 increase. But in between, it went all the way up to $3,500. Sports cards. Let's look at Baker. You can see here Baker's pop count a lot higher on the PSA 10. Not a ton. 867 compared to Lamar's 568. And also look at the Lamar PSA 9s. 27, almost 2,800 nines. Look at Baker's. Only just under 1,300. Big difference there. Big difference there. Obviously, less total Bakers graded between 9s and 10s. It looks like anyway. But Lamar, much tougher 10. But still, Baker, under 1,000 population count on a base Prism. Keep that in mind. The base hate in some instances has gone too far. So let's look at his stuff. Similar path. Through June, fairly flat. We get to early June. It's a $161 card. It spikes up a little bit in early June to $250. Flattens back out again around $200. Dips back down again around the early July. Is around a $200 card. And then this one, we get to late July, July 20th. It was $190. And by August 6th, it was $325. So it went up almost $140 in a month, which is almost double. Not quite double, but close. And then it flattened out throughout the month of August. And then we get to the start of the season right here-ish, 350. And then it tailed off because he started kind of slow. It looked like a game manager. And then the back half of the season is when he came alive. You can see here it spiked again. It was all the way down to $120 and then spiked up to almost 200. And then a little dip after they got eliminated from the playoffs and then really went right back up quickly and has gotten all the way back up to $600 at one point in time. It's currently around 400 right now. Yeah, 450. So Baker, a little bit of a different path. Didn't get as much love as in June into July. Really took off a little bit later than some of the other ones. Let's look at Kyler. Even Kyler, 2019 base Prism, only 2,200 of them. Compared to Luka or Zion, 2019 basketball rookie class, 17,000. Big difference. Big difference. Once again, we're going to notice similar trends. We get right about August 5th, August 6th, $325 card, base Prism PSA 10. We get to the end of July, $637. So not quite doubled, but basically went up $300 in the course of a month. Once again, starting at the 4th of July and ending at the end of the month at up $300. And then it went next level. It went up throughout the month of August. By the beginning of September, it was up to 848. Then they started hot, and this spiked again up to 1,000. But then they didn't, and it immediately dropped down and dropped quickly as he had multiple mediocre weeks in a row. As someone that had him in fantasy, I remember starting being very optimistic at the end of September, and then very quickly realized that, oh, he's going to be fine this year, but he's not going to be next level good like he was for the first few weeks. And then it continued to drop in season and has kind of leveled out, came up a little bit, and has actually gone back down again a little bit as we've moved throughout summer. So, long story short, we should start to see if the football market is going to mirror last year. And once again, when I say mirror last year, I mean start to see price increases, not reach the levels that it was last year. I do not expect that to happen. But that movement should start to pretty soon here. And in some cases, already should be. And to the best of my knowledge, looking at the football charts every week, we're not really seeing that. Maybe I'll need to take a little bit of a deeper dive and look at a lot of like last 30-day data. Maybe at the end of this week, I'll do some 30-day charts on a bunch of popular players and kind of see where we sit. But, we're halfway through June now. This month is flying. And that key indicator date of around 4th of July, because you can see we looked at multiple players. I didn't look at every single one, but Kyler, Mahomes, Baker, Lamar are, four of the more hyped players, all started seeing good movement after the 4th of July, in some cases leading up to the beginning of July. Lamar's stuff was going up throughout the month of June. And like I said, I just don't know that we've seen that yet in the football market. It's still kind of like meandering its way. Stuff goes down a little bit, then it goes up. You can see it here with Kyler. It was up here in April. Then the market's kind of downshifted lately. It dropped down a little bit into the end of May. Then it went up a little bit here in late May, and then it's dipping down again a little bit here as we move into June. So, we'll have to see how it shakes out. But like I said at the beginning, my concern is if the demand is not there, what's going to happen if everyone's waiting to sell this stuff right before the season starts? Or maybe the National is going to be the dumping ground for football. That's an interesting thought too. I mentioned earlier, is the National like the heartbeat of the football market, or the center of the football market, because it's going to be right in the thick of it in regards to calendar. But I wonder is the National going to be over flooded with people looking to dump football inventory? Is everyone going to go to the National with all their football stuff and be like, hell yeah, man, National, end of July, perfect. I'm going to dump all these football slabs right at the beginning or right at the end of July, 1st of August. Get rid of all this football stuff. Is not every attendee, but you get the point. Is a bulk of attendees going to be looking to go there and do the exact same thing? And is anyone going to want it? Because if everyone's going to be like, man, I don't know if I want to take on all this football stuff. The season's about to start. And usually cards go down once we get in season. Do I really want to touch this stuff? Sure, some stuff's going to go up because someone's going to play well above their head. But in general, most of the market pulls back once the season actually starts. So there could be this weird situation where everyone's looking to do the same thing. And if that's the case, it could have the reverse effects. I don't know. Will sellers outweigh buyers, or will buyers be there to meet the extra inventory coming onto the market from everyone holding back? Like I said, nobody knows. Nobody knows. We will see what happens. But it's going to be an interesting 2 months for the football market, I think. The next 60 days are going to be very telling. The lead up to the National, by the time the National rolls around, we're going to know. Because that's going to be the end of July. Most stuff should be seeing considerable rises between now and the National. If we get to the National and this stuff is flat or slightly down, now we're going to get interesting. Because people that were planning on selling before the season started are going to do one of two things. They're going to dump it and just get out of it, or they're going to hold it in the season. And then that gets risky in the football world. So very curious to see what happens. Also very curious for you guys and girls' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think? Which scenario is going to play out? Is the demand going to be there? Is the market going to heat up to meet the sellers' expectations in the football market? Or are they not going to be there and sellers are going to be left holding the bag? semi myself included. I don't have a ton, but I have a decent amount of football stuff on Star Stock. Not an astronomical ton, but probably at least $1,000 or $2,000 in football inventory on Star Stock. Are the buyers going to be there? I don't know. I really don't. Like I said, a lot of talking heads are saying the same thing, and we all know what that means. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Where are you boys and girls at in the football market right now? What do you think it's going to do? Is by the national, is the football market peaking, or is everyone going to be going, thought there was going to be a bunch of buyers and there's not. And our price is actually going to go down prior to the season starting. I don't know. I really don't know. Fascinating times, as always, in the wonderful world of sports cards. So that's all I have for you, boys and girls, today. Smash the like button, subscribe if you want fancy charts and graphs like this. Link to Market Movers is down below, along with a coupon code for 20% off. And if you're looking to make any football plays, eBay affiliate link is down there as well. Catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.